Yeah, again. Spinner off, spinner.
Welcome, viewer. And we got some more today. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for coming. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who are out there and you're just going to watch it later on at your own leisure time. So I'll put the link in, or it will be on Facebook anyway. But those of you who are on my YouTube channel, but with the you do receive the links if you wish to do it. So welcome. This one we've got is Why Don't You Keep Them? And it is exactly what you said, Teresa. It's all about making sure your drivers stay having lessons with you rather than drifting off and going off with someone else, because you want the continuity for them, but you also want that money in your bank account. I think you'll agree. Yes. So the next one, I'll just say it now, just so that you guys can write it down if you wish. Tuesday, the 27th, 6 p.m. Same thing. You can either come on the live and we record it and then I put it out later on this evening, or you can watch it on the YouTube channel later. So, Ian.
Hello. My
What's
turn to be
yours?
under the bus, is it?
Whoosh.
Where should I start? I think, why don't you keep them? Sometimes you can't. If you want to keep your principles, sometimes you can't keep them.
Agreed.
You know, if they want, you know, if you're working towards an end point, you're putting all your effort in towards getting them ready at a certain point, and they've got an earlier test date. If you want to keep your principles and stick to what you know, then sometimes you might have to get rid of them. Not get rid of them, but advise them that.
Agree to differ.
Yeah, agree to differ. And if they're not going to follow your professional advice,
yeah,
then that's a choice they make.
Absolutely. So I totally agree with that. I think there's a lot of things going on. So first of all, when you want to keep them, is what you're saying, I think, Ian, is make sure that that's mutually viable or something that you think is professionally right for you.
Yeah, and I think you know, my crystal ball doesn't work anymore. I can't accurately predict when they're going to be ready for a test, and it's working towards test date. That makes the situation even worse, because it's frustrating for everybody, not just the pupils we teach, but ourselves as well, that sometimes we're not working to an end point until we're a quarter of the way through.
Absolutely. I always found that when the test date was drawing sooner, there would be lots of tension and I would instantly go fault focused. Anyone else?
Yeah. Me too.
I'm glad it's not just me. Instantly turn into fault focus.
Me too.
I think they lead you to that because they ask for lots of mock tests and am I doing it right and blah, blah, blah. So it's not necessarily me asking, you know, trying to tick a box. It's more a case of you're becoming more aware of their gaps, but they're also putting pressure on you to tell them if they're doing everything right and if they're going to pass the test. And would that be a fault? And so it's actually coming from them rather than rather than yourself as an instructor.
Absolutely. So it's both of us, isn't it? It creates that tension. We all get focused on the one thing rather than the safer driving for life thing. Absolutely. Terry, it's the number 72.
I just want to go back and clarify something Ian said. Ian said that his crystal ball doesn't work anymore. So does that mean Ian only has one ball?
The other is in the...
I'm just wondering, you know, you shouldn't put that out in public, Ian.
There's a response to that, but it is quite filthy, and I'm not going to lower myself to your standard and respond in that manner.
Come on, please. Oh, please do.
No. I'm going to be the better person, take the higher road. Well, you were on the lower road, my friend, my very, very good friend.
You can next time there's a beer, you can tell
I
me.
know
what it
you
is.
guys are always talking about how fragile they are when someone tries to kick them, but I don't think they're made of crystal.
Well, that depends whether they actually do kick them or they're just trying to kick them. The fragility.
You two got to stop going off on a tangent. Meant to be professionals, man. Look at you two.
You
Bloody
two.
hell. Keep it
started it.
professional.
We're
You
off duty.
started it.
There's no proof. No proof I started it. What did you ask me, Fiona?
Just, well, you know, because Ian
Oh,
kind
nothing. Did you ask me anything?
started.
You just, oh, yeah.
I just threw you. That's the usual.
Usual, yeah. Yeah, I'll keep in hold of them. I think sometimes, I think I'm going to say this. Sometimes I think we don't give ourselves the best chance of keeping them. You know, I completely agree. Obviously, what Ian says, you know, about they don't match your principles and stuff, and it's fine. I don't want to be part of this. You want to pass as quick as you can, and I'm not going to be party to that. So, thanks very much. Good luck. So I get that and absolutely agree. But I also think that a lot of the issues that we have come from one of the first chats we had with them as well. I don't think there's enough contracting going on when we start. And I think we just assume sometimes that this person, youngster or whatever, has the same idea about how this is going to happen. And by contracting, I just mean having a chat and making sure they understand how it all works. You know, so one of the first things I did when I was teaching learners, and I do it now with PDIs as well. We have a chat about how this is going to work and the importance of it being a two-way conversation, and that the passing the test is not really important at the moment. You know, you'll pass your test. Your mum and dad can teach you to do that. You don't need me for that. But what I will help you with is making sure you get home safely at night, or giving you the best chance to get home safely at night. And that's the contract. So this is how it's going to work. And we both need to buy into it for it to work. And because my job isn't to get you through a test, my job is to give you the best chance, get you and your mate safe, home safely at night. And that contract it links in with their motivation. And I don't mean more freedom, more independence. That's not motivation. It links in with their actual motivation for wanting to learn to drive. So, you know, whatever that might be. That could be another one. Motivation, Fiona, that could be the next one. How to motivate. And it's something that's constantly discussed as the lessons happen. You know, so we've got a test date. Right, it's 3 weeks away. You know, how do you feel about driving you and your mates home at night? How confident do you feel about that? Oh, really confident. No, because you're shit. So I'm not going to let you do it. Is not the response you give. But you have that chat.
Just like advice then, Terry, just saying.
Yeah. Then, Facebook advice. Binham.
Oh, Binham.
Binham. Worst 2 words ever invented for Facebook ADI groups. And I just think if you because when I first started, when I was struggling to teach someone, you had that fallback of I'll go to auto. I remember I sent 2 or 3 people to auto. I suggested they do auto instead. Those were back in the olden days when BSM had offices, and you could pass them on to the auto in the office. But I realized later on what I was actually saying was, I haven't got the skills to teach you. Go to someone else. So all this Binham bollocks that you see on advice on Facebook, they're actually saying, I ain't got the skills to teach them,
Yeah.
which is quite sad, really. So contracting, I think, is vital for keeping them.
I
And
think
keep going back to it.
there's, in my opinion, just as an interjection, there's a distinction between contracting and giving your terms and conditions.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Completely not the same thing.
But
Good point, Fiona. Thank you.
some people will see that as the same thing. The terms and conditions discussion is not the same thing that you're talking about. So you're talking about please be honest with me. If you're uncomfortable, let me know. If I'm uncomfortable, I am going to let you know. And it's much more honest than that. The contracting thing is much deeper.
Yeah, sorry. Good point, Fiona. Yeah, it's nothing at all to do with T&Cs. Two completely different things. This is contracting in terms of where we're both heading with this, what's the ultimate outcome, and which route are we going to take to get there?
Yeah.
In essence.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is really difficult. I don't know if any of you guys teach intensives, but I think that must be really, it must put the cat amongst the pigeons and make it much more difficult to do the contracting then, because you have not yet had a chance to get good rapport going, where you need to be thinking about if it's an intensive. I think that's much harder, but no judgment about whether people do or don't. I'm just saying, I think it must be much harder. I will come back to the T's and C's later, because I do actually have my own input. Not that these two ever.
Well, you don't throw yourself under the bus.
No.
Yeah.
No, I just.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I've got the record button.
Just throws us both under the bus and then goes, but you never asked me.
Yeah, but I'm also.
Fiona, no, wait, Fiona, number 81, here it comes.
Defined as woman, so I can get away with it.
You're defined as a woman?
Yeah, apparently. On the birth certificate.
Oh,
Well, not woman,
okay.
female.
Must be law then.
Now then, let's, if it's okay, unless you have either of you got anything else to say, but the contracting.
Okay, no, nothing else to say. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Very different to saying about your terms and conditions. Yes, I agree, Terry, that motivation is a good one, because without the motivation, you have very little to work on. You got nothing to share and develop, because that comes from them. So I think that's a really good one. Really good one. What do you think? I've got a long list. What do you think are some of the most common for the pupils precipitating factors into why they bin us?
Why they bin us?
Why they bin us?
Oh.
Teresa?
I reckon I'm going to go for 5. Ian, what's your score? How many you?
I haven't added them up yet.
Oh.
I think it's more than 5.
I think it's down to the individual. It can be, if you've got 20 pupils, it can be 40 different reasons. 2 each.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Teresa.
I think the real reason is, I think there's one real reason, and that is they're not enjoying what they're learning.
Yeah. Not enjoying, or I've got something else written down.
I think it's more shallow than that now. I think it's a case of their parents or they don't prepare themselves financially. They don't see that there's a longevity in the process. And so they get the basic car control under the belt, and then they think, I can go off and do it by myself. And I suppose that then we're fighting a battle then in terms of getting them in the car, building a rapport, and sort of guiding them to see that it's more than that. And if you can get that in quickly, and that you get that rapport between you, I think there's more chance of you keeping them. But I think that as soon as I've had countless situations recently where I've had them for like 2 or 3 lessons and they've gone, oh, I can't afford next week. And it's just like, well, you know, in my brain, I'm roaring and going, why didn't you think about this when you started your lessons? You know, the financial implications of it. It's not just a quick fix. It's quite frustrating, and I'm going to stop talking now.
Oh no, I don't. But you've got
Why?
it's but that's it, isn't it? Sometimes it is that thing, and it also links back to what Terry was talking about. I don't think I've ever thought of saying to somebody, have you got enough money for these then?
Can you imagine walking to Tesco's?
Show
Everyone
me
going,
your bank
Got
account.
enough money for your shopping?
But it's true, this, I think, because also we've also got mum and dad, like you said, Teresa. Mum and dad say, oh, I had 10 lessons. 10 lessons. And one of them was my test.
And when there was no cars on the road and everything was, there was no complex, you know, road networks, and they weren't having to think of this, that, and something else.
And before they decided to challenge the crash history and stop 5 people a day dying by trying to get people to understand the theory more by developing the theory test and getting people to be prosecuted for drinking and driving and not wearing the seatbelts and all the rest of it. Absolutely. Don't start me on.
But driving's easy when you can do it, isn't it?
Well, I can certainly do it on autopilot now.
It's the rest of the idiots you've got to watch out for.
Just because I'm driving on a motorway and I actually wanted that exit, no, I'm fine with that.
I think people forget how complex a skill it is, because you're doing more than one thing at a time for a start. And we all know about patting our head and rubbing our tummy. That's hard enough.
I thought you meant opening the crisps and steering with your knees.
Oh, that's easy after a while.
It's impossible if you're 5'2".
Luckily,
I don't know if
I'm not 5'2".
Yeah. I didn't learn to drive when I was 12, so I wouldn't know what it was like. Sorry, Fiona.
Muffins are hardest.
Hey, muffins harder than muffins.
Muffins are really hard.
Now, are we talking about sweet or savoury muffins? That's what I need to know.
I have only ever had a sweet muffin. We're still talking about food and eating, aren't we?
I thought we might be going back to Ian's
Terry's world.
Terry's world and Ian's crystal ball. Right, I've got a list here.
You smell.
I've got a list.
No, is that no? It's not a statement. Is that? I mean, is that on your list?
What, smelly? Well,
yeah, we might be smelly.
Yeah.
That's what it might dump us.
Ew.
Ew.
Well,
Just saying. You got a list. I'm not asking if that's on your list. That's all.
Yeah. No. Or sometimes there's different versions of smelly. There's like someone's had loads and loads of garlic the night before, kind of smelly.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
It's the other person who's got, really bad teeth or bad breath or something.
Yeah. All these things.
Strong perfume or aftershave.
Yeah. I've actually stopped wearing perfume. I met someone once who was allergic to it. And it made me feel really different about wearing perfume.
Neurospicy people can't take that level of stimulation, or some can't take that level of stimulation.
Exactly. Yeah. So these things are something to
Can Ian and me, can we guess what's on the list?
Yes, please.
Okay. Smell, obviously not on the list. Okay. Go, Ian, your turn next. I said smell.
You're not tall enough for them.
No, not on my list. You mean pedals?
Someone like you hasn't got that on their list.
I'm not.
Miss Baggins.
Because I always have to pump the seat down when they get in after you.
Which one of you is my precious? You don't have
Bash
to
the head off the door when they're getting in.
When one has an electric seat.
Go
on,
right, okay. All right. Not enjoying the lessons.
Yes. Not enjoying the lessons and something linked to that.
Not learning nothing.
Yeah, not learning enough, not getting enough progress. Now, can that be a shared responsibility, the not enough progress issue? So
Therefore, don't listen.
exactly. Sometimes it's their fault and they really might have difficulties listening, but that could be multiple reasons again, because we're trying to tell them.
Well, it could be that we aren't trying hard enough to get them to listen.
We're not tapping into their learning.
Exactly. It's not tapping into their preferences or how they want to do it this time.
Building enough rapport.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that. So not enough progress. And
Doing it the instructor's way.
Terry, your one was not enough progress, wasn't it? When you said, oh, why don't you go auto? Sideways.
Yeah. Bin them off.
Bin them off because I'm telling you, you're not listening. It's not working.
Yeah, I'm bored now of this class control thing. It's been 7 hours now.
Yeah.
It's obviously your fault. Go and do auto.
Absolutely. There's no point trying to hide. It's like watching the news when there's competition during COVID. Nice legs. Tell me that's an adult.
We can see you.
Please tell me that was an adult, not a young adult.
It was my oldest son, yeah.
Hopefully above 16, otherwise I'm just about
He's fine. He's heard worse.
I just didn't want it to be a very small person. Oh.
He is quite small, but that's,
if you could see, I'm about the same colour as Ian's circle currently. So money-wise, what happened?
That's penny-wise.
So, but you guys said it. I can't remember which one of you it was with the money. It wasn't, yeah, with the money. But sometimes if they haven't got enough, they try and stretch the sessions, and then it might mean they lose the slot. I don't know about you. Did you guys have a regular slot for a person? And if they don't have that slot every week, then they don't have lessons with you.
Really struggle with that, other than the local private school that has a 2-week timetable. So that could be fun. So I don't generally touch them people anyway on that basis.
Easy.
To handle.
Shouldn't be touching any of them.
Absolutely. You'll be going as red as me.
Anyways. Yeah. So I've muted.
There is that, because I never managed that. I never had a slot where it was a usually. But am I the only one who's just had a sort of...
At full capacity, I can't move them. But at the moment, I'm not in full capacity because of the problem, the reason I'm here.
Yeah. I think it's an industry thing, which is why I said it. I think it's just, we had so many people wanting to learn and struggling to get tests that it was like we could relax. And just and now that's kind of changing, and people are doing other things.
It's just a cycle. It's what we do.
No, we're driving instructors, not cycle instructors.
It's needing to adapt and knowing how to adapt. I think that's the thing that I would be struggling with the most. So I had I know you said no long stories, I'll make it quick, but I had a girl start with me, massive anxiety, got a test in a month. She's had 3 tests before, one of which resulted in a panic attack and a walk back. You know, we were really working on the mindset stuff. Her driving's fine. But then she messaged me saying, I can't make next week's lesson, I can't afford it, which was sort of, I explained the continuity thing, you know, we're working towards your test. This is really important. And then I said, you've got to understand that if I find somebody who can fill your slot, I've got to protect my business. And she said, oh, yeah, I understand. Radio silence, which then led this week to, sorry, I can't take you to test within 3 weeks. You're not ready. So I've pushed her out, leaving myself in a financially vulnerable position. So I've lost, you know, £80 odd a week because of my principles and her safety, largely.
Well, it's the concern, but it's that contracting thing. So you've done what you said you needed to, but unfortunately, you're the one who loses out. Yeah, really.
Or they lose out as well. Because they ain't got you teaching them anymore, Teresa.
Absolutely. And if they go to a tell, I'll tell you not to be nervous because that works. Yeah, just don't be anxious.
Teresa reminded me of something.
Go on. Are you going down the rest of my list?
Now about the old I haven't got the money.
Yeah.
It's not aimed at you, Teresa. You just reminded me of it. I think sometimes when they say they haven't got the money, they may genuinely not have the money. But I think sometimes I haven't got the money means I'm going to spend my money on something else this week. Because your lessons aren't as important, or my lessons aren't as important as going to the cinema with my mates, or going down to London for a day out.
Or make a tattoo. I've got
Oh,
one.
that is so true. Yeah.
Or have a tattoo. Yeah, you see, I think that when I haven't got the money means I have got money, but this week I'm going to spend it on something else because that's more important than my lessons. Just something to think about.
It's really good. It's really, I like this stuff. Solutions for the tattoo thing then, Terry? Ian, you haven't spoken for ages.
I know, I'm just listening. Thank you. I think it's a difficult one, particularly. Well, it's just difficult. You know, how can we deliver better value than keeping them alive? Do you know what I mean? It's context, but we've all been young. We've all had that finite pocket, and that Saturday night out with the guys and gals is sometimes more important than my driving lesson. Well, when we test weeks away, I can miss this week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And then next week, there's
I
something
had a
else.
similar.
Go on.
I had a similar issue about 2 weeks ago, and basically the guys go about test within 2 weeks' time, and he kept skipping the lessons for the last 3 weeks. And about 2 weeks ago, he had a lesson with me, and he said to me that, "Can we go for the test?" I said, "Okay, let's do the mock test, as long as you don't make any serious mistakes or dangerous mistakes. If you're safe on the roads, I am more than happy to take you on a test. If not, then we will decide later." He had about 6 serious faults, 2 dangerous. And I asked him, "Can we go on the test? You tell me now." Then he said, "I think I can do it." I said, "Sorry, but you're not ready for the test because you kept skipping the lessons, and I can't take you on the test."
It's hard, isn't it?
And he went completely silent, and I was like, "Okay, let him speak rather before I speak." And he said, "It's really hard to find a test date, and blah, 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 blah." And I was like, "Okay, but you're not ready." Based on how you drove today. And he said, "Okay," then he simply disappeared, and he went for, I think he's going to join another instructor, and he said the same thing to him.
Yeah. It's really difficult because there's loads of things going on. There's peer pressure. You'll be all right. You could make it. There's parents and similar things. It's dreadful. It's a load of pressure out there. It's horrible. It's really horrible. I hate those conversations. Is there a solution to that? Oh, go on, Teresa.
I was going to say, going back to Terry's contracting, because I think that that's really valid. And I always have a conversation with them, sometimes with the parents before, when they text me originally, oh, what's, how many lessons are they going to need? And I'm just like, okay, I know the DVSA have changed their wording now, but I always use the whole, oh, they suggest 40 hours, on average, with 20 hours private, good quality private practice, blah, blah, blah. But it might take longer, it might take less time, it depends on the person. Blah. And I always say that to them. And I always sort of mention the fact that obviously test dates are tough and what have you. And then I have the same conversation with the learner and try to sort of put across my general ethos. But at the same time, that's the first time I'm meeting them. And I don't want to be beating them around the head with an ethics stick. I want to be trying to build rapport. And yes, I want to give a firm safety message that I'm not rushing this. Your test, I always say, your test is like here and you're up here. That's what we're looking at. And if that takes 45 hours, if that takes 60 hours, that's how long it takes. And that's, I just hope that you'll communicate with me and tell me how you're feeling about it all. And so you're sort of trying to almost plead with them that they don't, chuck you under a bus, not metaphorically, of course.
Yeah. I think this is the problem with this whole thing is their perception of what they can do between now and then, and our knowledge and what we kind of know about the system and the problems that they're facing.
Yeah.
I know this sounds like a really dreadful plug, and it is, and I am going to do it, but I do actually run a workshop that helps with this very same thing that Sarah was talking about. It's how do you help somebody see that they are not ready for themselves? So it's person-centered evidence. So you have to help somebody get the evidence, because it doesn't matter if somebody tries to tell you, any of you, something. Will you change anything that you do because someone's told you? How many of us have ever smoked or still smoke? And even though people said that's really dangerous, how many of us still do it or did it? Because it's not going to happen to us. Right? Same principle happens with driving tests and us. So
if you'd said drinking, both my hands would have been up in the air.
Well, exactly, drinking. But
because I'd rather spend my money on drink than fags.
Yeah. I wonder what your liver prefers.
Onions and a nice Chianti, I don't know.
Anyway, the mind mapping workshop I do deliver actually has that solution for that problem. And it's sometimes when you just think, well, actually that fits in. But it took me donkey's years to find out a way of doing that. The mock test thing works for some, but it doesn't work for everybody. As Sarah, you just said it. It's like, well, they just say, yeah, but I think I can do it. I think I can. I'll be all right.
On your way.
Yeah, because rather than asking, telling him you're not ready, no, you're not this, no, you're not that. Rather than getting into argument with him, I just simply said, okay, let's do a mock test. If you are not making any serious or dangerous mistakes, if you're not being safety critical on the road, and I'm more than happy to take you. And that really worked for me.
Well, it worked for you, but it didn't work for him because he was still trying to convince you to take him.
Well, yeah, they always do.
Well, that's where I'm coming from. There are ways, but they are very hard to do. They're very hard to... helping somebody see evidence for themselves is something that they have struggled to do with people on speed awareness courses, etc., for donkey's years. So it's not just the learner driver. How long and how much enforcement did it take for Ian not to have a drink and drive his car?
Something I've never done.
Of course.
I've always made sure I could stagger to the nearest taxi rank. And I had a tenner in my sock.
You dashed it.
Used to have a tenner in my sock.
Yeah.
It was a white tenner, but you know.
Oh my word, that's My word. Right, so test waiting times are a problem, and it's putting all of that extra pressure on them and us. It's extra pressure. The availability thing, there's the fact that Terry smells thing. Did you know there are some instructors that spend some time using their phones during lessons? Has anyone seen this?
I've had
I've seen it.
situations like that.
I'm not just. I don't know if it's that they don't know.
I've seen it today.
Yeah, well, be careful because I'm not trying to have a go, but what does that do to a new driver if they're uncomfortable? Because there are sometimes things that we do that makes them uncomfortable, and the mobile phone is an issue. Terry, have you got another thing for the list, Ian?
Oh, I'm going to share with you a message I got Saturday. He says, talk amongst yourselves.
In your own time, mate.
Here we go. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Hi, you've been recommended as a driving instructor. I live in and work in. I had around 7 to 10 hours of driving, but not confident experience. I've done 6 hours. Right. I've done 3 hours with an instructor, which was absolutely horrendous. He just made me drive without really knowing what I was doing, whilst trying to show me pictures on his phone whilst I was driving. So my confidence is really low.
Oh, that's.
Yep.
That's another level.
Yeah.
So I said, have you tried auto?
It's a lot easier to look at somebody's phone in the passenger seat if you've only got one pedal to worry about.
Exactly. What's the problem? What's the problem?
It's a shame. So, like I said, sometimes people make genuine mistakes and they don't realise, for whatever reason, that bit of information has been missed. And because I do believe people make mistakes or forget or didn't know. But that one sounds a little bit more on the deliberate side, does it, Terry?
And if it's, I've got a suspicion who it might be around here. So it's not going to be the first time.
I find that really very sad, because the pressure that driver must have been under.
It's just what?
Imagine having that savvy to know and to leave. So if you're on your phone and you live near Terry, you lost.
See, this is where I feel a lot better, because I end up with people who come from other instructors in my locality, and I don't ask their name, as in the instructor's name, and try to stay away from that. You can sort of guess from the things that they're telling you have happened, but they're coming to you with a real low confidence, and there's got to be something better here. And so actually I feel like on the positive side of this, in those situations, it sort of gives me a position of power, because I can then show them what it should be like, and I can make them feel comfortable, and I can give them sort of a good experience. And those ones you find are easier to keep because they've come from something awful. It can't get any worse, can it? No. In all honesty, I back myself in that situation, because I know that I'm better than that person, because I'm not going to behave in the same way, similarly to what Terry said, and some other things that maybe should be reported. But there we are.
So in a nutshell, we need to really focus on our integrity. We need to focus on them, not be distracted, make their experience well worth paying for. My recollections of we've been on this client-centered learning kind of path for a long time, Ian, Terry and I, and you, Teresa. We've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, and my recollections of before and my pupil retention rates before I changed my practice was very different to as soon as I changed. Once I became focused on them, they knew it. Once the sessions were about them, they knew it. and my retention rates went up. I'll say this because we're quite far into this, and it could be we need a part two. I don't know. I'm not sure. But in terms of integrity, I didn't talk about cancellations ever. I did the contracting. This is how this is going to work. So everyone knew where the boundaries were. It's otherwise known as risk management. Not that we ever mention the SC kind of words here, do we, Terry? But it's kind of risk management, isn't it? But the only time I would mention it would be after they cancelled. If they don't know, I would, when they get back in the car, the next session, we'd go off and do stuff. And right at the end, just before they get out, I would say, I do need a bit more. And I would just have the conversation then, just when they're about to get out, not on the phone, not as a text message, as a conversation. I don't know if you've thought about this from my perspective. This makes it really difficult for me to earn money. Oh my God, I hadn't thought about it that way. And what happened to my cancellation rates? They were ill. They were ill or honestly bereaved, or something horrible had happened to them. But this is about having the integrity with the person you're sitting next to. When you have honest conversations and you just say, honestly, I find that really hard to pocket it. So you can have sign your terms and conditions on day one, if that's how you work. But you can run your business how you wish. That was my preference. Because if they're enjoying the lessons, what might happen to your cancellation rates? It's something to think about.
So I always send out their confirmation letter via email and say, this is where your slot is. It's going to be permanent unless you tell me otherwise. This is the pricing. These are my bank details. Can you give me this information about yourself? And then I attach I have an attachment T's and C's, which has got a cancellation policy in it. But I don't go through it with them tooth and nail. I say, I'd like you to read this, and then they get an opportunity to ask any questions when they get in the car. But I don't usually mention it unless they cancel on me short notice, and I have to bring it to their attention. From what you've said, like, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm right in how
No. There's different ways to handle things, but I always feel bad when they're messaging me like less than 48 hours before saying I can't make the lesson. You can usually tell who are messing you around and who are genuine. And on a first offence, if somebody says I'm ill, I can't make it tomorrow, I'd rather that than them bring the germs in the car. But you do get a sense of whether they're taking the wee or not. And I think that's, as a business owner, that's frustrating because you want to be compassionate, you want to be empathetic, but you've got a business to run. And especially at the moment with the pressures that they are, my diary's not flourishing at the moment. And so that makes it harder to be compassionate and empathetic and consistent. And I think that's why I'm here, because I get that this bit is a struggle. And I think that I'm trying to work out whether it's an endemic thing or whether it's a personal thing, whether it's me or whether it's just generally across the industry. I'm not the only one that's having this issue. It's got worse over the last sort of year or so.
Everyone is getting worse? Yeah?
100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So you're doing the right thing because you're thinking about where, the picture I used for the advert was the leaky bucket. And you're not going to be able to plug all those holes, but if you can stick a bit of newspaper in and lessen the leak. Lessen. Block it up a bit.
Constipate it.
You constipate the leak.
Yes.
It's a leak, so it would be a bit of more of a stone, I would have thought, or a GTR.
Well, it depends. All kinds of things are floating through my head at the moment, none of which
Oh, leave it. Constipated, floating through. Stop.
Floating, plugging holes.
My work here is done. Thank you very much.
How many more is on your list, young Fiona?
I've got the ADI cancels. We need to be reliable as well.
Is there a lot more? Should we make it a part 2 link mixed with the motivation?
Yeah, we can make it part 2. I'll have to keep my piece of paper then.
Oh,
I think
no.
so. Let's make it.
I've just seen the time, that's all.
Yeah.
Time.
Good job it's not last week. Well, this was
I think it would be the price as well. Some people charge really low, or some big company they charge as well. It depends on the pricing as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, good point. Really good point to bring that one up. Yeah.
Mudstub is like the best in Shenzhen. Sweet's like £100 an hour.
I'm not the cheapest, but I'm the most expensive, to be honest. I'll tell you the truth.
What you might be.
But you've got to back yourself, and if you've got a UPS, if you've got a valuable sort of features to yourself or to your business, specialities. I made a point in the first few years of investing myself loads in CPD and stuff, and it has paid for itself. I've been able to put my prices gradually up and stay. I have been doubting that most recently, thinking, should I drop them? And then I come back to no, because if I drop them, what are people going to then look at? I'm not backing myself then. So I'm within a remit, and I'm quite happy to stay there. And I've got to have faith in what I'm selling.
Yeah.
Same here.
I'm not just a driving instructor. I specialize in certain areas, and it's just you've got to remind yourself that that's important.
Yeah.
You also have to remind yourself to oil your doors regularly.
And the other thing is, if you drop your prices, you need more pupils to make the same money.
Well, exactly, and that's why they've gone up. It's only
fatigue. I've got to put that in for next time, because fatigue is massive.
Yeah. Fatigue when you get to stay in bed till lunchtime because you've only got one lesson in the day because the other bugger cancelled on you. It was nice, but I'd rather have been out working.
Usually a middle one. It's always the middle one.
I find my
middle one.
Early ones tend to cancel.
It's not the end of the day one. It's never the end.
No, the end of the day is never the one. When you've had enough. Even though you only got out of bed an hour ago.
Stop talking about me.
3 days I've got in the week at the moment where I'm going to the gym in the morning because it's just like, well, got to do something, can I?
Well, I've heard of the gym.
Yeah, he's a nice bloke. You just, just want to stay on the right side of him.
Thank you all for your participation, your joy, and the enthusiasm that we see here, because what this shows is you are a professional who is doing the best for your people. And sometimes, Cyrus, as you said, sometimes you're doing your best and they can't see it because they just can't see. They haven't got the motivation, or they haven't got the inner belief that they also need to postpone it. And we could also go for that one at some point. Ian, Terry, how do you get those kind of things across to people in a different way? It's really hard. How do you make them listen? Because that's an important thing. Right, the next one, Tuesday, 27th of, January still. And that will be 6 p.m. So it's a Tuesday, 6 p.m, same thing. If you do want to come, click the link. It will be online. If you can't find it, or I've done something wrong, call me out on it. But it's...
I think you mentioned earlier 26, Fiona.
Well, I lied. It's 27th.
7th.
Tuesday. It's the Tuesday.
27.
Yeah.
27, 6 o'clock evening.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't get Terry up in the morning. I think Ian...
Easy Tigers family show.
I'm not going to mention the pills because you told me off last time. Anyway,
Never touch lager. Never touch it.
Oh, gosh.
see, it wasn't my fault that time.
27th.
27th, which is a Tuesday. I've looked at the date that I may have said by mistake earlier. It's 6 p.m. I'll put the link up as soon as I can, and then you can put it in your diaries. But thank you, everyone. So assume a position because I'm going to find the button and stop the recording. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all the way.